Welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is balance sheets. Now, I had the honor and privilege to speak with my son. We do this on a regular basis about topics that he's just not learning about in school. And in particular, I've been focused on teaching him on how to actually use a budget. And in using a budget, I asked him to put one together. Now, we've been struggling with this for probably about the last month of him actually putting the budget together and showing me how it's actually consistent based on how he's intending on spending his money. So what we actually had to do today was just get down to the meat of everything with the balance sheet. The challenge that I actually found out was he was actually using the wrong tool for the job. He was working to put everything in Microsoft Word when the best tool actually ended up being Microsoft Excel. So we actually went through Excel. We had all the various line items or the goals in which Ethan wanted to use his money for, as well as looking historically of all the things that he's actually spent his money on. And we learned a couple things, but I'm going to start with his side first. So for a 13-year-old, what did a 13-year-old learn about in putting together a balance sheet? Well, first off, he understood and realized how much money he was actually taking in each month, but he did not realize how to actually allocate a budget. He was allocating a budget to money that has already been spent for a previous month, as opposed to planning a budget for the upcoming month. So that was kind of one oversight that was a really, really big deal and kind of just shifted everything for us. But in addition to that, he also learned and understood that everything needs to be consistent. He didn't actually have goals for what he spent his money on. So think about that. A 13-year-old did not have goals for what he would spend his money on, so he would literally just spend it on anything. And when you looked at his spending patterns and what he was actually focused on, you could actually tell what was super important to him. And in my determination over, I guess, a 3-month time span during the summer, the most important thing for a 13-year-old was saving up for his new phone. All of his money went for the new phone. There was no allotment for anything else, no emergency funds, no investments, nothing else, just the phone. So recognizing that based on the 3 plans we also were looking for, because we gave categories for each of the items he actually wanted, whether it was part of a secure plan, a comfortable plan, or a rich plan, Ethan focused on being comfortable. So a teenager wanting to be comfortable and focused on a key doodad, very typical. But what we had to change is having him focus on all the various things that are important and understanding what he actually wants to develop as far as his plan and where his money should be going if he wants to, well, end up with something more than what happens on the 16th birthday, where everything's supposed to be a big goose egg based on, I guess, the trust fund he's getting his allowance from. So that has been a very interesting learning lesson from his side, but it was also a learning lesson from my side, because in asking my son to do something when he did not understand what tool to use, we wasted a month going back and forth over this task. But today we were able to knock it out of the park and just sitting down and learning how Excel actually worked and how to use it to create a budget. And that was amazing. So if you have not worked yourself in just understanding how a budget works, or even working with your kids on creating one, a lot of learning lessons, And learning lessons for me is simply by looking at a budget, you can tell exactly what is important for whoever the spender is. Where are they choosing to spend their money? So that was a big learning lesson for me. And what it also taught me is, since he actually has the tool now to do what he needs to do, I can have him look back historically for the entire year to see how he has spent his money in the past and how he's going to continue to spend it into the future. And that is one of the biggest lessons that I can teach as a parent in regards to financial literacy. Understand where your money was going and understand where you want your money to go. So I didn't want this lesson to be long-winded, but balance sheets are super important, and you can teach your kids or whomever with just some basic ideas, but just make sure you use the right tools so that you can actually make everything easier for them. Because at this point, I don't have to teach my son about balance sheets anymore. He can start building it and going through it on his own. So that was my learning lesson of the day, and it also was his. And I hope you appreciated the whole idea behind balance sheets. So if you haven't looked at your balance sheet in a while, definitely take a look. It's worth it. All right. So until next episode, bye.